Alrighty, so first I did mess with my audio settings a little bit. If it's worse, let me know. If it's not, you don't have to say anything, we'll go as planned. But I want to preface this video with the rewards and the math we are about to talk about, that we are going to assume that we are currently world rank 4 for our rewards. Now, why does world rank matter? Because we are going to assume in resin cost that 20 resin is equivalent to 44,000 Mora, and 20 resin is equivalent in experience to 82,500. Now, where did I get that 82,000 number from? I took the base average of assuming that we get 6.5 blue XP tickets and 2.5 of these purple XP tickets, and we split the difference because it's 20,000 each, 2.5, 50K, and because it's 5,000 each, 6.5 is 32,500. So putting that together, 82,500, there we go. Now the other thing we need to note before starting is this is where the math is gonna get kind of weird, but I believe this is the main way I'm going to be able to translate the weapon experience that we gain from the battle pass to resin cost. When you go to enhance any weapon, you will see that the experience you gain from the weapon and the required Mora to use it is 10th. So 60 is 10% of 600, same as 120 is 10% of 1200. So this is where the base math is going to be coming from when we're going to be translating the amount of weapon experience we get to Mora. So now, don't worry, I'm gonna do this and we're just gonna skip right to it. I'm not gonna have you sit here and watch this shit. I'm going to add up all of the Mora, all of the weapon experience, and all of the Mystic Enhancement ore, and then tally it out as resin cost, and we'll go through why I did that. One thing to note, especially here, is I don't have the battle pass. I don't have the battle pass because currently I am unable to purchase it because my bank doesn't allow transactions through Hong Kong based on their fraud detection stuff. They need a third-party exchange like Google or Google Pay or PayPal to be able to make these transactions. I would have purchased this on my phone or an emulator, but both of them have not worked for me, so unfortunately I'm just kind of dead in the water waiting for PayPal to hopefully come before the battle pass ends and I lose all of these rewards. Now, why does my bank matter about this at all? And it matters because of these things here. These are the talent upgrade materials, and from the looks of them here, they're in 3-star blue quality, which means we're getting the blue quality books. Now, the reason this is an issue is I'm unable to add these to the equation because currently at adventure rank 36, through the talent material domains, you get 2 blue books, and then I've gotten either 2 or 3 green books every time I've ran it. So I would have loved to be able to put this in resin equivalents, so I can't because I have no access to open these chests to see exactly what we're getting in terms of resin to talent material. So keep that in mind as well while we go forward. And I'll be right back with the math. So here the math is. With my handy dandy calculator and my notepad, we have translated the wealth ley lines to resin to gold, the revelation ley lines, the bases are here, and because we once again checked and saw that the amount of weapon experience you get is a 10th of the Mora cost, we're assuming 20 resin is 4.4 thousand Mora in our equivalents here. So, first and foremost, what do you get? You get 2,160,000 Mora from the Battle Pass, which translates at World Rank 4 to about 980 resin worth of just running the ley line well. In terms of the ley line experience, right now we have an XP event with the Alchemical Crucible over in the Thousand Winds Temple that does actually give more experience per resin spent, but it is only a 7-day period that this will be available, so I don't want to add in events in this calculation because I feel like it would be misleading. All in all, we get 2,520,000 character experience, which in equivalence to our Revelation ley lines is about 610 resin. This is where it gets a bit funky with the weapon experience to Mora transition. So this is why we're going to use a calculator, just so everybody can understand this. I want to make sure this gets across correct. So in the battle pass, we get 288 of these mystic enhancement ores. That is where this number here comes from. So we are going to times that by 10,000 because that's how much you get each. So this is how much weapon experience you get. But because we need to change that weapon skill to Mora, if we times by 0.1, that will give us a tenth of the value at 288,000 Mora is required to use 2,880,000 XP for weapons. Now we do our calculation here based on the wealth ley line, divide it by 44,000, which we would have to do it 6.5 times, which times that by 20, which is the amount of resin cost per attempt, equates it to 130 resin. So this 130 resin is what is required for you to do in wealth ley lines to be able to use all 2,880,000 weapon experience. I'm calculating that into resin here because that's how much resin it would cost you to get the benefit of this experience. So now let's add that all together. 1,720, which is the value of resin that you get just in these items in the battle pass. Now remember, this number could actually be higher because the amount of resin that you might be spending per amount of upgrade material per these chests, which I don't have access to. So keep that in mind that it's actually a bit more resin worth than what we're showing here. So let's change this resin into how many days this is. So we know that every 60 minutes we get 1 resin per 8 minutes, which gives us 7.5 resin an hour. Times that by 24, and that's 180 resin total per day if you never cap it. We're going to assume your resin will never be capped, you will never waste any of it. This is how much resin you can get per day without spending prio gems or using fragile resin to gain increased resin per day. So we're going to take 1,720 divided by 180, and if you don't lose any of your resin, this is a little over 9.5 days worth of resin in just Mora, weapon XP, and character XP. Now what we're going to do is you have to go into the battle pass and you see that you get throughout it every 10 levels 4 wishing material, and then you get 680 primo gems. So going back into our math, here's our primo gems, but in the Paimon shop we can see that each wish material is equivalent to 160 primo gems. That is where we got this number here. You get 4 wish material, 640 primo gems. You get 1,320 primo gems in value. Now, what does that equate to money? Here's once again where we run into the issue of me not being able to buy anything. I only have one source of information in regards to the shop of a blurry screenshot that I found, because all of these are first time purchase bonuses and do not show the actual value that you're getting per these Genesis crystals. And going to this very, very blurry screenshot that I have, so this is all I could find with a non-first purchase bonus, which looks like about 110. So doing the math here, you get 1,090 primo gems for $15. So let's divide that by 15, and that's about 73 primo gems per dollar that you spend. So going back to our number here, 1,320 divided by 73 equals about $18 worth of primo gems spent. And if you're wondering why we're looking at Genesis crystals, not primo gems, it is because when you buy Genesis crystals in the shop, Genesis go to primo gems in a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 Genesis equals 1 primo. That is the translation we're doing here. So this is the value of the battle pass we're looking at within dollars and days played. We have 9.5 days worth of resin and $18 worth of primo gems. And if you buy the base version of the battle pass, which I will show you here, it is only $10. You do not need to buy this extra stuff here. We're just looking at the base value. So this is $10. So as of now, if you complete the battle pass, overall, you're up $8 and 9.5 days played worth of resin, where we've had to transfer all of these materials to resin to get this number. So I think the battle pass is really worth your time in just resin alone, not even including the primo gems. And you saw there that if you do buy the $20 version of the battle pass, it gives you 10 levels if you're a bit behind, and it will give you 5 fragile resin, which is 300 resin. Either purchase. If you're not able to play the game as much and you need to buy that $20 pack, that's fine. I believe it is worth your money. It is not as big of a value as the Blessing of the Welkin Moon, but you also have to consider that if you do not log in, you lose one of those days of the Blessing of the Welkin Moon. So the Blessing of the Welkin Moon is priced lower in terms of value to get you to log in at least once every single day from a business perspective, that is very valuable for us and incredibly valuable for the developers. So here's the math. If you have any other questions regarding this or other things, drop them in the comments, let me know. I will try and respond when I get to it. But just from looking at this numbers, like I said, personally, the battle pass is well worth your time. And that's really about it. I don't really have anything else to specifically bring up. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.